What's up, you guys? I got something in the mail today. I got a little package from YouTube, so I think we should go ahead and open it. And I want to talk a little bit about YouTube, about this is my knife from Taiwan. I don't have autofocus on. Talk a little bit about YouTube, talk a little bit about what I've learned being a YouTuber, and talk about some stuff I don't usually talk about on this channel regarding copyright, give you some recommendations of other music YouTubers that I really like, and maybe some advice if you're curious. I just want to make a YouTube focused video. I want to open this package. I want this to be casual. I want to see what's in this freaking package. I'm curious. I mean, I know what's in this package. A letter. Susan wrote me a letter. And I got a plaque. A plaque that looks like this. It says, presented to Grady Smith for passing 100,000 subscribers. It's pretty cool. I guess it's mirrored now. You can see my camera setup. I guess it's mirrored now. It's not the standard silver play button. So, I was going to try and make a belt buckle out of my silver play button. I've actually already reached out to a leather artist about that. But now I don't know that it applies because this is a mirrored play button, but I'm still really excited about it. Wow, that's cool. First thing I want to say is thank you. Obviously, I've been past 100,000 subscribers for a little while now, but I really am thankful to get to do YouTube full time. Somehow this has been working for me as a full-time job for like 8 or 9 months now. And I love making music criticism and commentary here on YouTube. I enjoy talking about country music, and I enjoy talking about it with you all. You're an awesome audience. You're smart about music, and I'm just thrilled and feeling a lot of gratitude, and my little reward, my mirrored play button, is helping with that. You know, it's nice to get something, even though that's not at all why I do this. I do want to take some time, since we're kind of celebrating a little bit here, and pay it forward. And not that any of these channels that I'm really going to mention need my help at all, but I do want to just mention other places that I enjoy watching on YouTube. And I know I'm so bad at just getting on camera and riffing. I always like to be prepared, and so, of course, I can't just unwrap that. I gotta talk more about stuff, but whatever. It's who I am. I like to be a little bit prepared. But some other music channels that I really enjoy watching. Numero uno that we gotta talk about, Anthony Fantano. Obviously, kind of the king of music critic YouTube. I really enjoy his regular channel, The Needle Drop, but I actually prefer his other channel that's just known as Fantano. He talks kind of more industry stuff, topical things, sort of breakout songs, trends on that channel. And because I don't listen to all of the music that he's usually covering on his regular channel, and it's not usually country music, I really have fun following Fantano specifically. I also love watching Spectrum Pulse. It's a guy named Mark that runs that channel. I've watched him for many years. That dude works freaking hard and reviews a lot of music and has an ear for production that is so much more advanced than mine will ever be that it really amazes me. I also watch his other channel, Billboard Breakdown, where he reviews songs based on what charted on the chart that week and kind of explains why things are high up on the Billboard chart if they are. It's just an interesting mix of kind of the industry side of things with the music critic side of things. Todd in the Shadows is probably my overall MVP channel. I freaking love his video essays. He deep dives on big pop songs, on one-hit wonders. That's always very entertaining. And he has the most creative, funny, labor-intensive editing style, and really solid, interesting, hilarious commentary. If you've never watched his videos before, I promise you'll enjoy them. Sideways is another channel that I really have loved watching over the past year. He's dealing more in like film scores and in soundtrack decisions with movies, and he makes these awesome video essays about Disney and about superhero films, all sorts of stuff. But if you're a music nerd, it's super interesting. A channel on the rise that I think you might enjoy is one called The Back Road, hosted by Christine Lee. She has such an ear for great country music and is a better lyrical analyzer than pretty much anyone, I'm gonna say. She digs deep and figures out what words mean, and she has cool taste that's on kind of the fringe of country music. So if you like stuff like the Panhandlers or Cody Jinks like I do, you might enjoy her. And I watch a bunch of others too, whether it's Punk Rock NBA or ARTV or Rick Beato or Mary Spender, Adam Neely, but obviously I can't talk about every single music channel that I watch here, but there's tons of good stuff out there. Those are some of my favorites. When it comes to musician channels, I also subscribe to a ton of people, but we won't go through them all. I will say my top favorites are probably from a lo-fi production standpoint, Zach Bryan. From a super high production standpoint, Postmodern Jukebox. I think those videos are just a joy to watch. And then there are all these sort of intimate, offstage, on the field, music video production squads. People like Gems on VHS, Cracker Farm, Western AF, and in a slightly more produced way, Texas Music Scene TV, that are shining high quality video on artists who really deserve exposure. I'm so thankful for people like that because it actually gives me something to put in videos, something to actually link to for a lot of these people that aren't necessarily producing their own music videos. Frankly, I think a lot of independent artists would be better off finding just someone that's good at filming something, standing outside and recording a song rather than trying to string together enough of a budget to make a music video with the storyline. I think it reads as a little fake and too try hard in the era of TikTok, and I kind of think these on-the-field recordings are really fresh and cool. When it comes to stuff not in the music world, geez, that would be really hard to sum up. I follow a lot of philosophy type channels and politics as well, all across the spectrum, but as you guys know, I don't really talk about any of that stuff here on the channel. In the more broadly appealing categories, I really enjoy a few channels in specific. Bon Appetit. I mean, who isn't loving their channel right now? If I direct my top 3 chefs from Bon Appetit, I'm gonna go Delaney, Carla, Brad. I also really enjoy this OG channel called just Lisa Irby. She's a creator that kind of teaches you about entrepreneurship online. I've been following her for over a decade. Her videos are kind of random and about like designing t-shirts and building websites, but I enjoy following her. I like watching Russell Hance's YouTube channel. He's a contestant from Survivor that talks about other Survivor players. In the comedy world, I adore Theo Von. I love watching his interviews. The Barrel Brothers, those guys are on the rise. Extremely Decent when they upload. It is always a joy. And although most her content isn't something I'm that interested in watching, I love the Sophia Nygaard videos I've seen. Specifically, I mean, the first time I really watched one all the way through was her video about melting all of the candles from Bath & Body Works together because my mom's a candle collector and she knew every single freaking scent in that video, and it's probably the hardest I've ever laughed just because my family's strangely related to it so much. It's just clear to me that her and her husband work really hard on their content. Now, speaking of working hard on content, I work really hard on my content. I work hard on making it engaging. I work hard on bringing music clips in that I'm talking about to kind of give you a taste, a flavor of the sound of an artist that I'm trying to tell you all about, to expose a lyric that I'm talking about in a song, to make it clear what kind of vocal delivery style this artist uses, and very often I get copyright claimed for that. I get my little green icon will turn either half green, which it now does on the app, or it'll turn yellow, and it means you're not making the money from this, or you're getting a way reduced rate of the money from this video. Now it is going to the rights holder, or the publisher, or the label, whoever is claiming one of the songs in your video. Now, I never like to get on here and whine. I never like to say, woe is me, I'm a poor YouTuber just trying to make it. I chose this job. I know it's an experimental territory. I am playing with fire a little bit sometimes when I include these clips, but I'm only doing so because I believe it is so obviously fair use what I am doing. I am using copyrighted content, but I am adding criticism and commentary to it. Thus, I believe it to be protected under the Copyright Act. It's exactly how a show like Tosh.0 can still go on the air and air clips that they don't own and still make money as a program. Now, as you guys know, I use pretty short clips of music in my videos. I try to keep them under 8 seconds. If it's a live video, I will maybe do it a little bit longer. And even so, I very often get information about your video and some random publishing house that I've never heard of that's owned by one of the big labels, and it's kind of like a third-party shadow agency will swoop in, claim the video, and then all of a sudden I'm not making any money on it. And I get why these publishing houses do that. YouTube has built a system that was meant to protect copyrighted material. I get why they do that. I think it's smart that they did that because I think there are a lot of situations in which other artists' music is abused. Maybe music is being used to sell a different kind of product. Maybe it's just being covered and someone is trying to say, oh, this is my song. Those things are unfair. Those are a kind of piracy. But there are specific exclusions in the law toward the media, toward people that are adding criticism and commentary and recontextualizing pieces of art. That's what I do. But the system is set up in such a way that if a rights holder claims my video, they just immediately start getting the vast majority of the money from it, even if what I'm doing is totally fair. And if I dispute that claim, there's not a third party that mediates. It goes right back to the person claiming it. And guess what? They always reject my dispute, and then they just get the money again. Then you get a million warnings that are like, if you appeal this dispute, if you go any further with it, you could get a copyright strike, your channel could get deleted. To be honest, I think most of those are pretty empty threats. I have started pushing further and further. I've started actually pressing appeal. I've started exploring what happens when you go further down that road. And basically, you might lose the appeal. Often, I win the appeal, or they just let it expire and I end up getting the money back that they were kind of scraping from the video. And we're not talking about a lot of money here, guys. AdSense is not some giant lucrative thing. If you're in YouTube to get rich, buckle up. It's not like that. But you have to get to the very end of this whole dispute and appeal process and this vortex of emails and notifications and counter notifications and threats to actually get to ever talk to someone else, you know? Otherwise, you are just going back and forth with a nameless agency, and all the power is in their hands. And it's really an intimidating process. And I think it's pretty much set up to be abused. I get why big publishing houses abuse it. I actually spent some time last year trying to talk to people really high up on the food chain at some big publishers, places like Warner Chappell that might have claimed some of your videos if you were watching this. And I get the sense that most places don't really know everything that they're talking about. They're just kind of like, well, YouTube gave us this tool, so we're going to use it. Well, you're making money, and some of our music is in your video, so we have to protect our songwriters, so we're gonna, claim it. And they act like, we don't know what we're doing. Everyone kind of feigns ignorance. And again, I don't think publishers are bad people. I think they really are trying to protect songwriters. Songwriters have been screwed out of royalties by all the big streaming platforms. And so I think there's a lot of anger that is being misdirected at little people like YouTubers that are actually trying to respect copyright, that are trying to expose artists and advertise them well, but they're the easiest kind of prey to scrape money from, and so I think that's why that happens. Still, I think it is a totally backwards perspective, if I'm being honest, because a lot of you might not realize this. I used to work in the magazine world. I used to write tons of articles. This is my binder of pieces that I wrote back in the day, and let's just take a random one like this Brad Paisley piece. Here in one section, we're talking about his song Remind Me, and he says, when Carrie Underwood comes in and sings, remind me, the executives couldn't believe it. Now, I quoted his lyrics there. It would be crazy if his label reached out and said, hey, Entertainment Weekly, you quoted some of the lyrics in that review of Brad Paisley's album, and you had an interview with him as well. So there's a perfume ad running next to that. We're going to need 80% of the money from that perfume ad because you quoted his lyrics in a review. That wouldn't happen. That doesn't make sense. That's not how a review works. You want coverage. You want your music out there. And I would say that getting a review on YouTube, being able to hear a tiny bit of the music, is a lot more effective of a way of marketing an album than having a printed review. And so it's crazy to me that labels, publishers, publicity firms wouldn't want that 10-second preview available for people to hear. I mean, it's less than you get on Apple Music or Spotify if you preview a song, even if you're not paying for it. I think labels, at least, are starting to get this. Warner Brothers actually released the claim on my Randall King video. I really was appreciative of that. And I would love to see that sort of creator and label relationship continue. I'm happy to play by some sort of predetermined rules of when it's okay to use content in a video and when it's not. It just feels like I'm playing a game right here and all of the rights holders are just playing some totally other game where they just get to decide randomly if they're going to claim your content. I would love if there were an official way that a music channel could apply to be almost like a trusted partner when it comes to music reviews. That they could say, hey, so long as we agree to play less than 15 seconds of 3 different songs, we are allowed to use those 3 clips in our album review, or whatever it is. Some set of rules like that, such that you could sort of sign up and say, I will play by these rules, and provided that I do, my video is not allowed to be claimed. Like a different type of video that would make it easier for content to be reviewed in a way that is fair to the rights holders and fair to the creators that are trying to give exposure to those rights holders. Basically, I think some version of that, some system where everyone could be on the same page, would be awesome. I seem to be in an okay spot. Not many of my videos get claimed anymore. Sometimes it happens, like my love song video from last month. I've made $1 on that video. A whole dollar. And the rest of it has just been all tied up in escrow. And I'm not in this business for the money. I don't think you get into it for the money, but this is what I make my living on, and so I want to protect work that I think is good. And anyway, I just feel like I do things respectfully. I link to videos. I try to push people to the actual streams, to the actual places where the videos are from, and it just sucks to feel like you get in trouble for that. That's why I totally understand the anger of someone like Rick Beato, who's not even using lyrics. He's playing like a guitar lick and getting claimed. And I totally understand why other creators, people like Anthony Fantano, choose to just use no music in their videos. But I don't know, I'm an editing nerd, and I would rather show you what the music sounds like, especially since I believe it is fair use. Now, I do want to end with just a tiny bit of advice, just some super practical things, because a ton of you guys ask me, what gear do you use? What kind of camera should I get? Should I start a YouTube channel? And my answer to that is, don't buy anything to start a YouTube channel. If you got a webcam, if you've got a phone, you've got enough to start. But the dumbest thing you could do is go and spend tons of money on equipment when you're not sure if this is going to be something that you want to do. It's like, when you've never actually taken the time to go on a run and you decide you should buy a treadmill. You probably shouldn't. Personally, I've tried a lot of different camera setups. I've had a little webcam. I've used my iSight on my computer. I have used a camcorder. I've used different mics. I've used the built-in mics. I've used a Yeti Blue, which is awesome, and I love that mic. But I have kind of, my final setup is a Canon M50 that sits on a little tripod on my desk, and attached to that I have a Rode Micro microphone, and I have a big kind of fuzzy snowball on top of that, and that way just what I say goes right into the camera. And I've adjusted the settings on it to a place that I like, and I don't have to do any work in post. I don't have to drag in a separate audio file. I don't have to do any of that stuff. For me, the less work it takes to press go and film, the better. Because I'm already someone that prepares, that outlines, that tries to look camera ready, and so the less I have to do once it's actually time to film, the better it is for me in terms of actually getting the work done. So those are my thoughts on YouTube. Those are my thoughts on being on this platform. I love being on this platform. If you want to know more about kind of my background, I actually was just on a podcast this week called Hippies and Cowboys, and I kind of talk about leaving media and instead getting into this world and what that transition was like. So if you want to know more about that, you can check out that podcast. I enjoyed talking to them. But I just wanted to come on here, talk about YouTube, talk about the channels I like, talk about my thoughts on copyright, celebrate with you guys, because obviously you're the reason why, this exists. And this is just a symbol. I'm proud of myself for working hard at something, having this channel, and I don't know, just wanted to make a video about YouTube, because I kind of play in the fringes of the YouTube community. I don't really involve myself as a YouTuber that much, but the longer I'm here, the more comfortable I'm getting doing so. So that's it. I love you all, and I'll see you soon with a lot more country music, not Grady coverage.